Hey guys, what's up? Zax here. Today we are here with the ultimate difficulty comparison on F1 2014. Today we're going to be doing 3 laps around Hockenheim, and we're going to be monitoring my performance in my Caterham and also looking at Lewis Hamilton's time over the 5 difficulties. So at the end of each race we'll be looking at the times that Lewis Hamilton has set, and by the end we'll have all 5 times, and we're going to be able to see the difference between the easiest difficulty, which is amateur, and the hardest difficulty, which is legend. So there are 5 difficulties in total. We've got amateur, intermediate, professional, expert and legend are the 5 difficulties in this game, and we're going to be doing 5 3-lap races. We're going to be showing you the first lap of each race and also the ending part of each race, so we can sort of see on the first lap how many positions I can gain, how sort of aggressive the AI on the first couple of turns, and also where I get to at the end of the race, which we'll see as well. So here we are. This is the first race we're doing on amateur AI, and we're starting in 18th position. We're going to be using Kamui Kobayashi's Caterham. I'm not sure whether it makes any difference whether it's his Caterham or Ericsson's, but obviously we can't get it perfect every time. We can't start in the same position every single time, so we're just going to go in 18th position. It might be 19th, it might be 20th, it might be 21st. I don't think we start last, but you know, it's just sort of an average and sort of the back 4, 5, 6 places on the grid. So here we are heading up to turn 1. AI on the easiest difficulty, braking quite early for turn 1, but I'm going to try and drive as cleanly as possible, not get involved in any accidents. I'm sure I'll probably hit a couple of people along the way, but here we are going up to turn 2 here in Hockenheim, and they brake incredibly early, and again, so obviously I just fly up the inside here. And it has been sort of known on Formula 1 games by Codemasters in the past that the AI are quite slow in the first couple of corners, and I did expect that on the easy difficulties them to be very slow, but once we get to the top 2 difficulties, they do race a lot better in the first couple of turns than I actually expected. So trying to get past Alonso here. Obviously we wouldn't be expecting to fight these guys in real life, and I can't remember my exact times. I think I do about 124s, 123s round Hockenheim. I could be completely wrong, but I think my fastest laps were sort of about that area. So I try and be consistent with my driving throughout the whole 5 races to sort of give you the sort of perfect, if you will, difficulty comparison, so we can sort of see how I race against AI and where I finish. And obviously the finishing position is slightly something to do with the AI. Obviously on the first lap, the easier difficulty is, the more positions I can gain on the first lap. See, I was looking down the inside of Rosberg there, but in my Caterham I still have no downforce. The AI are still in good cars, so they can still take fast corners fast, and in my Caterham I still can't take fast corners fast. You can see I was looking at the inside of Rosberg here, decided not to overtake him there because I'd been corner cutting, but I managed to get around the outside there. He seems to back off quite early in his Mercedes, so we got around the outside of him, and our Caterham is still pretty good on this easy AI. It's really not that hard at all, and you can see on the last lap we managed to get past Massa. So overall the AI is incredibly easy on this difficulty. You can see we've done a 123 there, and I think we're consistently about that sort of mark over the 5 races, which is good. Obviously each race I do, I'll probably get a little bit better, so you know, I might dip into the 122s there, I might have a bad race and go into the 124s, but you know, that sort of margin about 122 to 124 is generally where my pace was throughout the 5 races. So here we are. Let's look at the times there. Lewis Hamilton's in a 123.1. So at the end of the video I'm going to be showing you Lewis Hamilton's times from the 5 races, and we'll sort of be able to compare them about what the difficulty is between the highest difficulty and the lowest difficulty, and what the time difference is. So you can see here we're starting in 21st this time. This time we're on intermediate difficulty here, and it should be a little bit harder into turn 1. You can see a little bit more defending there from Sutton on the inside. He hasn't just gone to the racing line straight away, but we decided to go on the outside here this time, which is a little bit different, but we still managed to get around the outside of a couple of cars, and this is where the AI generally brake really early. They brake a little bit later than before, but we still managed to get down the inside of them there. I nearly hit Raikkonen, which would have been a bit embarrassing, but managed to get around him after he accelerates quite slowly. Now I think the difference between the easy AI and the hardest AI, I could be completely wrong, but I think it's sort of like they accelerate a little bit later, they brake a little bit earlier, and those sort of things, so they're slower onto the straights, but obviously if they get into the slipstream and stuff, they can still do overtakes and that sort of stuff. So trying to go down the inside at the hairpin, trying to go 3 wide with Hulkenberg and Alonso, not really working out there, but we managed to get Alonso, who sort of backs out it on the edge of the corner. Now looking to get past Hulkenberg here. Can we get past him? Obviously we're in a car that's about 3-4 seconds slower than the Force India, but obviously we're on a very easy difficulty here, and I'd really recommend these 2 difficulties if you've never played a racing game before or very new to racing games. Try out these difficulties, just see where you're at. The thing is, with a lot of F1 gamers, they just stick it on the easiest difficulty and keep using that, but for me, I've learned over the years, you know, when you play the game more and more, you want to be changing up the difficulty to have that next challenge in your career mode. And I know the best YouTubers and best drivers are out there that play F1 too good for Legend AI all the time, but for me, I'm just sort of in that area of just a bit too good for expert AI and just a little bit too bad for legend at the moment. Hopefully I can improve so that I can really fight with the legend AI. And you saw there a couple of corners back that Vettel was actually off the track. I think he retired from the race, down to 21 cars there, so we managed to get up to 5th. Not as good as the easiest AI, which we got up to 3rd and very close to 2nd, so you can sort of see that difference there. And you can see as we come around the last couple of corners here, we've got a good lap with a 1:21.8 here. Got a little bit wide at the final turn as the Caterham is a little bit all over the place sometimes, which is unfortunate, but that's what the car is in real life. It's not very good at all. So we see here we sort of had a bit of a queue behind us here. It wasn't that massive, the queue really behind us, but our best lap time of 1:21.8, so a little bit better than before. And let's have a look at the times here. So Lewis Hamilton doing a 1:21.4 this time, which is obviously better than he did before. So let's get on to the next difficulty, professional, where at the start of F1 2013, this is where I was at in terms of difficulty. I started on professional. I really wasn't that good at F1 2013, in all honesty, guys. I had to really, I was struggling a lot really, so I decided to go with professional for most of the career modes I did, and then I think the last 2 I went up to expert, but overall I wasn't that great at F1 2013, and I think it sort of showed in the difficulties I used. But you can see professional, not that different in terms of where they brake for this 2nd turn, which is sort of really the judgment of what, how good they are with the brakes and how early and how early they pick up the throttle and how early they brake. So still they brake quite early, and I think that's something that a lot of racing games have. In the first couple of turns, they're all the AI are really quite slow, which is unfortunate. It's really when you get down to the sort of 5th turn where they start to spread out a little bit, but the first couple of turns the AI sort of, it's always really hard for the AI to overtake, which, I don't know, it's a flaw in most racing games. I see it in a lot of racing games. It happens in R-Factor as well, R-Factor, Project Cars. I've seen a lot of games are like it, where really just the AI are not very good in the first couple of turns. But that's where a lot of people end up getting their positions. You can see we're up to 10th position here on professional AI, I should say, which was still, it was still pretty good sort of lunge in the first couple of turns. I mean, I wasn't obviously making any contact with any other cars, but still I had to sort of lunge it down the inside to get the positions. But that's exactly what I did in the first 2 tests, so I wanted to make it sure it was fair and make sure that I had the sort of same representation of where I braked and everything, to see how good the AI were on the brakes, on the acceleration and everything. So first lap, got up to 10th and pretty much just stayed there. There's actually somebody that was retired in front of us, but Kvyat got past on the last lap. And look at that, round the outside Ricciardo. So you can sort of see on this difficulty the AI sort of go for the overtakes a little bit more. They're definitely being a bit more opportunistic with the moves. I was sort of pushed onto the curb there by Ricciardo when he went round the outside, which was quite an impressive move there. I'm not sure whether we've ever sort of had that sort of stuff from AI. They normally sort of back out when you go side by side with them, but Ricciardo going around the outside there, nice to see the AI putting up a fight and actually just going for overtakes, which is good, which is obviously a nice improvement over F1 2013 there. And a bit of an overcast day this one was, that I actually forgot to set it to the same exact track every time. It was sunny in all of the races, but I think this one was slightly overcast. Not sure that makes really much of a difference at the end of the day, but you can see here the times tumble once again. Hamilton doing a 1:19.7 this time. So let's move on to the second to hardest difficulty, which is Expert AI. This is probably the AI I'll be racing with in career mode. I'm not too sure. I'm definitely going to be doing more races and trying to get myself up to the level of the Legend AI to hopefully race with them. I'm using medium traction control. That's the only assist I've got on. Now I really want to turn it off, but I was sort of trying to turn it off and I just really wasn't that good. AI braking a little bit later there. You can see we've only got up to 14th there, so you can just sort of see the AI a little bit better on the first couple of corners on this difficulty. Not quite as early on the brakes, which means that they all sort of bunch up. So definitely you can start to see the differences between the AI. Braking a little bit later on Expert AI here, and it's nice to see them put up a bit more of a fight here. They're sort of bunching up a little bit here. I'm not sure what Rosberg's doing, why he's down in 10th place in like the fastest car by like 2 seconds, but whatever, he's down there, and maybe he's got involved in an accident or something. That's why there was a big bunching up at the hairpin. So 11th place, you might be thinking, well, that's pretty much the same position you were last time, Alex, with the easier AI. Well, basically there was a little bit of a thing going on at the hairpin, wasn't there? All of them bunching up, and you could sort of see there they were all a lot closer at that hairpin, which is a bit weird. The front guys were sort of way off in the distance, and there was a big bunch from about sort of 5th down to about 12th, 13th. So I'm not too sure what's happening with that. but maybe it's just an accident with the AI going a bit all over the place. Maybe it's a good thing that the AI are a bit all over the place sometimes. It makes the AI probably a bit more interesting to race if they're a little bit all over the place. So yeah, at the first lap you can see we've definitely lost Rosberg, and we've still got these guys behind. Kvyat once again actually got in front of me on the last lap. You can see he's pulling away at some rate here, and Bianchi actually managing to keep up. I'm not sure, but Bianchi seems quite OP in this game. He seems to be quite good. But I suppose he did get points in real life, so he probably should be up there fighting with the Saubers and everything. But I'm not sure why there was a Ferrari down there. You saw it in the back shot. I'm not too sure why it's I think it's Raikkonen. Don't know why he's down there in 15th, but maybe he got something caught up at turn 1. I can see once again Lewis Hamilton improving his time to a 1:18.1 there. So here we are. We're going to be going on to the hardest difficulty on F1 2014 here. This is Legend AI, starting in 21st here. We're going to be doing this 3-lap race to try and determine what the difference is between easiest and hardest AI here. So here we go, and you can see quite a lot of wheel spin actually. That's why I shift up the second straight away, just to make make sure I don't get that wheel spin and actually get away from the start. And that's definitely something I'd recommend if you're starting off. Just shift it into second gear using manual as fast as possible, or not straight away, but as fast as possible really, just to make sure you limit that wheel spin. Now, down to the second turn, a little bit more interesting here. Cars a bit all over the place here, and they're a bit more defensive. It was really hard to sort of move down the inside. You can see here Maldonado being a bit aggressive, sort of squeezing us onto the outside curbing. But we're going to get into the slipstream of Maldonado here to try and get him at the hairpin to sort of see whether he puts up much of a fight. He doesn't really defend to the inside, but he does brake incredibly late, and there's sort of a big bunching up at the hairpin here. Not really anywhere I could go, so I just pretty much had to just follow Gutierrez through the turn, and we get a pretty decent run off the turn. We might be able to go down the inside of Bianchi here. Oh, we know Bianchi just turns into the corner, so he definitely doesn't want to give that place up, and once again I brake a bit too late and nearly got off the track. So in a way, nice to see Bianchi not just giving up the position there. He didn't back out the corner, which he probably would have done in F1 2013. So I know it's subtle, guys. I know the differences between the AI aren't massive in terms of F1 2013, but I can sort of see a tiny difference in terms of the way they fight. They don't really back out the corners as much as they do before. Obviously, sometimes they do back out the corners, but I can sort of see sometimes they are fighting for their positions like, they would in real life. So I think that's good. It's nice to see that little bit of fight. I know it's not as realistic as I think a lot of us wanted, but overall it's pretty good to see. Now, I wasn't going to leave this in because I was just going to have a short sort of end of the lap really showing you where I was, but here we are, Grosjean on the attack. He got into the slipstream and got the overtake done. And now we're going to go just a little bit later on the brakes. He doesn't really defend to the inside because we're already there. And I managed to sort of get the block pass done on him there. So that's where I get the position on Grosjean. It was a nice fight there. He actually went for the overtake and I got him back. So it's good to see the AI sort of thinking. You can see here once again Grosjean to the outside. Is he going to get it done? No, but we go slightly bit too deep into the corner, go a bit too fast. Actually, Grosjean looking to the outside. He hasn't backed out. It's right there in our mirrors, as you can see, both Lotuses, him and Maldonado. And he's probably actually going to have a good chance of maybe getting past us here at the end of the lap. He's looking to the outside. Is he going to back out? He brakes a little bit, and it looks like he's lost a couple of attempts there, but he's still right behind us as we've got a couple of corners to go. He might actually be able to get it down the inside at this last turn if he's careful, but we get a bit sideways. We just managed to actually fend off Grosjean there to the end, but you can see the gap to Suttel is very big there, and Bianchi was in a group ahead of us as well. So I think this difficulty is a little bit too hard for me. I can see I did a 1:21.3, so a little bit down on, I'll say, the time that I did in the first couple of races. So I was trying to be consistent with my times, but once I was into the harder difficulties, I sort of had to fight the AI a little bit more for the position. So that's why you'd see in sort of the last two episodes my time's probably a little bit slower than the start. So these are Hamilton's times over the 5 races here. You can see the gap between amateur and intermediate was nearly 2 seconds. Then the gap from intermediate to professional was nearly 2 seconds. Then the gap from professional to expert, once again, was nearly 2 seconds there. And the gap to legend wasn't that big from expert, but I still think I'm in that sort of area. I mean, it's less than a second between expert and legend there, but I sort of think I'm in the middle of that, which is a bit unfortunate. I'm probably a bit too fast for expert, but a little bit too bad for legend. So that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully it's been enjoyable. Hopefully you sort of learnt something about F1 2014 here, about the AI, and maybe you can sort of choose from the difficulties that you've seen here which AI you want to be going with F1 2014. Let me know in the comment section down below what AI you think you're going to be going with in this game. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. It's been Alex Mad here. Goodbye.